Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to my friend Hannah. We're doing a 4-episode series where we tackle different topics. And this one is one that I basically came up with on a whim. So basically, I decided I wanted to post on Instagram and get people to vote for the topics that we were going to go for. And I think I had like 5 ideas, but I needed 8. And so I just made some up on the spot, didn't tell Hannah what they were. And one of them was lessons we learnt the hard way. And obviously that one got loads of votes. So today we are going to be chatting about lessons that we learnt the hard way in our business. Hi, Hannah. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
You're going to be the most returning guest for the podcast ever at the end of these.
That's exciting.
This is your 5th podcast appearance. Next week will be your 6th.
Wow.
Yeah. That's right, isn't it? You've been on 2 times before this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's a lesson I learned the hard way.
What lesson did you learn?
Don't keep coming back. Because she just puts me on the spot.
Yeah, true. I'm always like, it's going to be easy. These are questions are good. And then I'm like, I'm going to ask you a hard question.
No, here we go.
Well, okay. Let's start off with, I do think that a lot of running a business is like you can listen to everyone's advice and you can definitely will learn from other people's mistakes. But I think a big part of it is you have to just make mistakes and you have to learn from them. I think there's a temptation for all of us that we want our businesses to be perfect and we don't want anything bad to happen and we don't want to make any mistakes. But actually, I do really passionately believe that if we accept that this is part of the process and this happens to everybody and this is what running a business is like, then it does make those hard lessons easier to swallow because we can see them as, okay, this didn't go to plan, this wasn't what I hoped, but I can learn something from this.
Definitely, yeah. And I think if you see them as lessons, then there's something to learn from it, isn't there?
Yeah,
so, there's always
lessons instead of mistakes.
Yeah, definitely. There's always going to be things that happen and it's just up to you to kind of pick what you want to take from it, I think.
Because we can never be perfect business owners and we're working with other people. Okay, I think I've got 5 lessons I learned the hard way.
I've got 5 as well.
Oh, perfect. So should we ping pong through them?
Yeah, do you want to share one of yours first?
Okay. I feel like mine aren't very funny. I think yours might be a bit more funny.
Only probably to you, so that's fine.
Okay, so my first lesson I learned the hard way is I think that I need to over-communicate. When I say over, that makes it sound like an annoying amount of communication, but I think I need to over-communicate what I think needs to be communicated to clients. So basically, just communicate more than I think I need to. And that's definitely, like, I've experienced that on the receiving end as well, is that the whole process of clients working with me goes so much better if I am like super clear on every stage of the process, what they can expect, when they're going to get things, like that I really explain in detail everything. And I think in the past, well, when I think back to any situation with a client where it hasn't gone very well or they haven't been happy, which thankfully it doesn't happen very often, but it has happened a couple of times. It's usually, I can always identify an area that if I had communicated better, it would have improved the situation.
So is the mistake under communicating?
Yeah.
Oh, so I thought the mistake was the over communicating.
No, sorry. So the lesson is
you should over
communicate.
Oh, I thought you were saying you chat too much.
Oh, I mean that could also be. No. So the other way around. So the mistake is under communicating to them. So almost like just being like, okay, great, I'm going to go do this, and then going off and working on it, and not really telling them, explaining the process, or telling them what's going on. And then them being a bit like, well, what's happening now? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the mistake. So yeah, the mistake is to under communicate. The lesson I've learned is to communicate more than I think is necessary.
Yeah. I like
to accept that they can't read my mind. Yeah. I mean, it's the same often in like relationships as well. So often I get annoyed with my husband because I'm like, well, why did you not know this? Like, why did you not read my mind in this situation? Whereas actually I just needed to communicate a bit more what I was thinking about something.
I like that actually, because I feel like I have lots of I've had in the past different types of clients where some of them almost want to micromanage me and some of them I won't hear from them. They'll pay the invoice and then that's it. And that is a bit unnerving in itself as well. Like you
So it
kind of
kind
do
of works
want to
both
have it.
ways,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
There's
Yeah.
like that middle ground where it's the right contact for both of you, I
Mm.
think, that gets the work done.
And like, you don't have to be annoying about it. It's not. I don't email them every day being like,
No.
just let you know today I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's my first lesson. So what's
Nice.
yours?
Okay, I think mine kind of links to that actually.
Nice.
It's client related. So the lesson is that if you get a bad feeling about a client from the start, it is probably not going to end well. So like
Yeah.
trust your instinct with it.
This is actually my second one. So we've
Oh,
got a
is it?
shared
Oh,
second
that's
one.
good.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I wrote trust
That's
your gut about
interesting,
red
seeing as
flag
I
clients.
told you what mine were.
I know. Well, yeah. It is my lesson because
Copied it.
yeah, I basically copied yours and added it in as one of mine. But I'm totally with you on that. Like,
It's
I've
true,
definitely got it.
isn't
It is totally true.
Yeah.
But I almost feel like you have to have those experiences because you can only hone your red flag radar by having encountered red flag clients. And I feel like one thing I want to caveat is I keep using the term red flag, right? And I feel like a red flag for you doesn't mean that they're like a bad person or a bad client. It just means that they're not the right person for you. And actually they will be better suited working with someone else. So it's not necessarily a negative comment on the client.
No.
I mean, it might be. Some clients do like problematic things. But it's not necessarily that. It's more like that you know that they're not the right fit for you, or maybe you don't have the right experience for what they're asking you to do. The temptation can be to do it anyway because you want the money or whatever. You know, like those things where you're just a bit like, oh, I don't know. It's like, listen to those things.
Definitely. And the one that I think about was like very early on when I started my business. And I think one of the reddest of flags was that I would often get CC'd into emails and see the way that this person spoke to their employees. So they had a very small team, and then there was me as an outsourcer, like a freelancer. And yeah, when I saw that, it made me uncomfortable, and then I ended up being spoken to the same way. And that for me was like, it was like a boundary where I thought, no, I'm not going to be spoken to like that, and I really hope your employees leave and don't want to be spoken to like that either. And I told her I was moving to Australia.
What?
I actually went on holiday to Australia, but I was like, yeah, I'm moving to Australia.
That is hilarious.
I know. The business doesn't exist anymore, so it's fine. But
what did she think when you came back from your holiday from Australia?
Well, I don't know. I didn't speak to her again after that.
That is so funny.
But yeah.
Wow,
then I still
extreme
wasn't ready.
way of getting out of it.
I know.
I
And
might try that.
because
Sorry,
I
I'm
was
moving to
still-
Australia.
Because I was still like at the beginning of my business like journey, I suppose. I didn't have the confidence to say
I don't want to
it's
work
not
with
a
you
good fit. Like, because of these reasons.
Yeah.
And now I think I would.
It's still
so.
hard, isn't it?
It is hard.
Yeah, confrontation is hard.
Yeah,
whatever.
it depends what the thing is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's my.
I don't tend to explain what the reasons are
No.
for not being a good fit. Like, I probably would if they asked me, maybe. But yeah, I think there's nice ways that you can sort of turn people down.
Yeah. It depends what the reason is.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
My next one is, oh my goodness. Mine is, I mean, this is like business basics 101, is put aside way more than you think you need for your tax bill. Because I feel like I'm going through a phase at the moment where every year I get utterly floored by my tax bill. And what's really annoying is that I learn from the last year and I save loads and it's still not enough. And I think part of that is because my business is growing, which is great. But somehow my tax bill is always way more than I think it is. It's because I have to do that, you know, where you have to like pay half of the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Always messes me up. But anyway, that is a lesson. One day, my goal is to get to a point where I have more my tax bill is less than what I've put aside. I don't know if that'll ever happen. It's never happened before.
I feel like on the back of that as well, a lesson is to do your tax return way earlier than you think.
That I have learned.
You know,
basically, April since having an accountant, I like send them the stuff and it gets done like way before. And then what's been good about that is because it has always been more than I expected it to be, I've then got like months, like at least 6 months to like get that money together and start collecting the money for the next one. One thing that I will shout out, which has been amazing, is I use Starling for my banking and they've now got this thing where every time Like, so every time I get paid for something, I can just click a button and pick a percentage of, and it'll go into a space.
Oh, that's good.
So it just takes me seconds. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm having to do any math. So I now basically just move 30% of any invoice that comes in
Right.
into that space. So hope maybe that'll help. But that is
Nice.
one of my
I haven't done my
more.
tax return yet.
Haven't you?
No, I have
Well,
sent it to
no.
the accountant.
Let's just say you will have done it by the time this goes out.
100%, yeah. But as of this moment, I don't know how much tax I'm paying at the end of January.
Oh,
So
that
it'll be
scares
fine.
me.
Yeah.
That freaks me
Yeah,
out.
it scares me.
Yeah.
Okay. My
Okay, what's
next
your
one,
next
I
one?
think you'll like this. My lesson was that designing your logo in PowerPoint is probably going to hold you back quite a lot.
Okay, hang on. First of all, you did that, right? Did
Yeah.
you? Was this pre-Tom?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
This was previous
Hannah's married to a great graphic designer who
Yes.
basically makes her brand look amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, this
Very
is
grateful for that. Yeah.
pre-Tom. Why did you choose PowerPoint? Just because it was what you knew?
Yeah, and I think it was actually partly because I could make it the like transparent background.
Right, okay.
And I picked the colour British Racing Green because I knew that if I ever forgot the code, I could Google colour code for British Racing Green. I think that is actually quite smart.
It's quite smart. That is
so
hilarious.
my logo
thinking.
was like a circle with a H and an I. British Racing Green in the background, like very simple. I don't think it wasn't good, but it wasn't like offensive.
Bad. No, yeah.
But I didn't. I didn't actually. You like green?
I love green. Yeah, I'm like British Racing Green. Good choice.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't shout about my brand because of that logo.
Okay, and you feel like that's what held you back. Like you didn't feel as. This is one of the things I do always talk about a lot. Actually, is like, or I have this in my sort of statement of why I do what I do. Because I think if you don't feel confident about your branding, it does affect like how you show up, or like the fact that you don't want to send people to your website, or like there's loads of ways that it does hold you back. I just want to say, as a caveat though, no judgment if you've designed your logo in PowerPoint, because I think sometimes like great that you did something and you started and you didn't. Like, in some senses, it held you back, but in some senses, it let you move forward and actually get started with your business.
Yeah, and I use that logo on my website, on my, like, Facebook page, on my business cards. Like, I use that.
Went to town with it.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's all over the town.
I want to see it now. Can you send it to me later?
Yeah, I will send it to you. But I think the main thing was that I wasn't confident in it. And then having Tom design a logo, where actually what the nice thing was is that he designed a logo that he knew felt like me, because I'm not British Racing Green.
No.
Like I am, and he designed a brand that felt like me and that I was really proud of to use. So I think that was the lesson for me.
I love the thought process of the British Racing Green.
I think that's genius, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, that is a good one. I think that is a really good one, because I think so much of it, when it comes to showing up in our business, like confidence is such a huge part of it. And if things, it's like, I think branding is like clothes. Like if you don't feel confident in your clothes, it impacts how you show up and how you present yourself. And I think that's the same for your branding. Okay, great lesson. Okay, my next lesson, I think it's quite broad. That like the things that are really important, or the things that are important for your business, usually take time and involve patience. Like I think.
What's the example like you're thinking of?
I guess just like growing. I feel like my business has been a real slow growth. So like one example for the perfect example is this podcast. Like I will be coming up to my 3-year anniversary of doing it. I'm like over 100 episodes. Like that's a long time to be podcasting, and I feel like it took me a long time to see like the impact it had or the results. And so I think, but it's something that's like really important to me and that I love and that has been amazing for my business. But if I had done like 12 episodes, I started with 12 episodes. If I'd done that and stopped, like I wouldn't have had those benefits. And so I think that's okay. Like I think so often now we feel like everything has to be, I think we talked about this in the last week's episode, that if, we post 3 reels and if they don't go viral, then we're not going to do reels anymore. But actually, like, I think you have to give things time to see
Yeah.
if they're like important things. I think you have to give them time to see if they're going to work for you.
And I think the quick growth is an exception. It's not the rule.
Yeah.
And I do find a lot of like small business owners look at these accounts that have gone viral and, you know, they're churning out all this content. They're making like £10,000 a month and all of that stuff, and thinking that that is where they should be at by now as well. And
Mm.
that kind of growth doesn't happen for everyone straight away. Like, I'm 8 years in and I'm still not at that. I still don't have 10,000 followers on Instagram. So
You might have by
I
the
might
time
have
this
by
goes
now,
out.
yeah.
Go and have a look and see if it's got there.
But yeah, like it
Yeah.
does take time, and it's good to not compare yourself.
And I think one of the things that's really helped me with that, I guess this is thinking about like where we compare ourselves with other businesses, is that actually, like, sometimes it's really hard if you go viral and like you,
Yeah.
because you don't say, especially if you're like a product-based business, for example, if you go viral and all your products sell out and you don't have the people to like pack them, or you don't have like the capacity to get more products in really quickly,
Yeah.
that's going to annoy your customers. Like, it's not always the best option for
Yeah.
brand growth, but we sort of look at it and think that that is the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And I would rather grow a sustainable business slowly that I can like maintain the growth, instead of it being like, oh, all of a sudden I've got all these orders and then the
Yeah.
next day I don't have many.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't, yeah,
That's too up and
that's hard to
down.
like plan for
Yeah.
or to sort of factor in. And so I think having patience with your business, and it isn't easy because we now have millions of people to compare ourselves to
Yeah.
on social media, and we're always gonna, I think we're all always gonna feel like we're behind. But actually, yeah, slow growth is good growth.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good lesson.
Okay, next one for you.
That you can reuse your content and it will save you so much time.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wish that I could go back to myself, like maybe
Give
not at the
yourself a slap.
beginning, yeah, but like, you know, maybe like 4 or 5 years in, and just be like, please put that content in a Trello board so you can come back to it later.
I know. I do think so often of all the content that I didn't store anywhere.
No.
And I'm not going to go trawling back through my Instagram account. I can't be bothered.
I do that
sometimes.
If things
No, I'll
catch
go back
my
like
eye.
a year.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go like trawling back like 12 years or
No.
whatever it was. Not that my content was very good 12 years ago. But anyway, yeah, I think that is like a good point. And I feel like that's one that I'm like always trying to improve, you know, because I think I'm getting better at, say, reusing Instagram content on Instagram. But I want to get to the point where I've got like a process where I'm reusing a bit of content in multiple ways, you know. So like my dream, let me tell you my dream, right?
Go on then.
My dream would be that I create a hero piece of content. So whether that is like this podcast, you know, like a big piece of content. So podcast, YouTube, or blog post, I would kind of see as like those. And then I would take that and make like 4 reels, a carousel post, 10 tweets, and 2 LinkedIn posts. You know, that then out of that, I make loads of content that's repeated but in different formats.
I feel like you should just hire someone to do that for you if that's a goal.
Yeah, I should.
Because there are loads of people who that is, you know, they're not even like VAs. They are like
content repurposers.
Yeah, exactly.
There must be a better name for them.
I wanted to say
content miners.
Yeah,
that's what they're called.
I was going to say scrubber, and I was like, no, that's
content
wrong.
scrubber. That sounds gross.
Yeah.
Content miners.
Yeah,
like mining your content for nuggets of gold. Yeah, that is a good idea.
I feel like that could be something put on your goals list.
Yeah. Okay, I'll add that on.
Nice.
Okay.
What's your next one?
Was that?
I think that was
yours.
mine,
That's your last one. Was that your last one?
No, I got 2 more.
Oh, okay. I've got one more.
Okay.
You're gonna laugh at this one. I mean, it is funny. People won't buy from you unless you regularly tell them what they can buy from you and how.
No.
But that is a hard lesson.
It is a hard lesson.
It is a hard lesson because we are so conditioned to think that people are going to find it annoying if we sell to them. One of the things that I love is when I see people on Instagram do this really well, where they're literally talking about the thing that they're selling every single day.
Yeah.
It doesn't annoy me. I'm like, that's inspiring. That's what I need to do. And it's good. It gives me permission to do it. But I still haven't got there yet. I need to get better.
I feel like I feel like there'll be a point for you where you have like a product or a service or something it would be like the equivalent to my best 90 days,
yeah.
where you're just living it.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that's why my Trello boards sell all the time, and I don't really talk about them I don't sell them that much, you know, sell with like the speech marks. But what are they called?
Inverted commas?
Oh, yeah.
No. Speech mark. Yeah, speech mark.
Sells with speech marks. But I use it every day, and I like talk about me using it.
Yeah, you're very good at like showing. You're showing the product because you're showing. I'm sure I shared a reel with you about this the other day, where it was talking about how like if you want it was your reel. You did a reel the other day.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. I shared a reel with you. No, you made a reel. Your reel was all about how marketing does so much better if you as the business owner show how you're using the product. And I think that's such a good point. And you do that. Like you show clips of you using your Trello boards.
Yeah.
And that kind of is a nice subtle way of selling. Like you're not overtly saying, hey, come buy my Trello board. No. But then if anyone's like, oh, what's that?
Yeah. You're talking about it every day, but not in a way that feels jarring. Yeah. It feels natural because it's something that you use.
I think you're right. I think I will get there. And I think it's just a case of like I think it's my business ecosystem is not quite as neat as yours is yet. I feel like yours is really neat and it all fits together. And I think mine is getting there. But like, for example, I don't talk about my branding services all that much because like I often get booked up a few months in advance, and the inquiries sort of, I don't get loads of inquiries, but the right ones seem to like come in. And so I'm not necessarily, but I think I need to get better at talking about what my services are so that I get more inquiries, and I guess I can be more like selective about which ones I choose. And then I need to talk about my courses. I think I just need to find a cycle of promoting things that feels, you know, it's like almost like last week when we were talking about the challenges, it's almost like this month I'm going to be promoting this service. This month I'm going to be promoting this product. And I just talk about them over and over again.
And maybe
that's a challenge I'm going to do.
What, promote something?
Like pick something and just promote it for 30 days.
Nice.
Going back to last week's episode.
I think you could have something, we're going like way off now, but like I feel like you could have something to direct people to. So say your wait list was like 3 months for your branding work, something that will like almost tide them over like in the meantime.
Yeah, it's thinking about the customer journey, isn't it? It's like, what's the small thing that they can buy from me now that then leads them on to maybe a bigger thing that then leads them on to maybe like working with me one-to-one. It's like that I'm sure there's a name, like a product ladder.
Oh yeah.
I need a product ladder.
It's a funnel, isn't it? Really?
It is a funnel, yeah.
In a nice way.
Yeah. Okay,
my next one, and I'm not going into detail with this because I know you're going to laugh about it, but it's that there are loads of automations for things that you don't have to be doing manually.
Please go into detail.
No, I'm not going into detail about it. But
let me give a vague summary. Hannah was doing something manually that she should not have been doing manually, and I was like, "What are you doing?" But that's a fair one though. I think a lot of people relate to that. I mean, there's loads of things that I'm sure I could automate.
Yeah, and I think when you're like if you're like new to this like online business world and like, you know, I don't want to say digital marketing, like digital products, I think there are loads of automation tools that I'd never even heard of. So what's that one? Is it Zapier or Zapier?
I don't know. I call it Zapier, but
Zapier. Well, yeah. And like that saved me so much time. And I didn't even know that existed until you told me about it. I think that's the thing. I think that is the thing, is there's so many tools. Yeah.
Like you can't know what they all are.
No.
And also, I think it's that thing of you don't even know what's possible. So I know that there's loads of things out there that I could automate. I just haven't like discovered them yet. I did see a comment that made me laugh the other day, which is, you know, one thing that's become really popular on Instagram is using ManyChat, which I've been using to promote the podcast, which is basically where I say in the comment, right, BYB. I had to make it not the podcast name because then if anyone mentioned the podcast to me, it would just ping them the link. But basically, if you either comment or DM me BYB, you'll automatically get sent a link to the podcast. I am not doing that. I am not sending you the link. This tool called ManyChat is sending the link, and you can do I need to look into it because you can do loads of stuff with it. You can have like a whole DM exchange that's almost like a funnel in itself that
Wow.
like takes them through okay, you enjoyed this, you know, like with follow-up things that they might want.
What?
I've been in a few of them. But one thing I did see in a Facebook group recently was where a load of people were talking about this, and someone was like, what? I've been sending everyone the link manually. So they were saying in their caption, comment this word, and then
Yeah.
she was having to go through and manually send them all the link because she didn't know that there was a
I
tool
mean,
that
I
you
would
could do
probably
it.
do that.
Yeah, that would be you.
But also, I would do maybe the initial one, but then I would want to be the one chatting to them in the DMs.
Yeah, that's
not
which
like,
is fair, and that works as well.
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense when you've got like a much bigger account, you know, like that you can't keep on top of your DMs, but you want people to be able to get the information that they need. But I think it also works well for like a business that's not a personal brand. So it's like, you've signed up for this thing, or would you be interested in this thing?
Yeah.
You know, like it gives you a whole sort of stack of things that are genuinely helpful, but you wouldn't be like, it wouldn't make sense for you to be chatting to one person anyway because it's a bigger company.
No, that makes sense. I think that one of the things from that, like you were saying about the person realizing that in a group, is finding a community of business owners who are in like not similar industries, but do you know what I mean? Who are also doing what you do.
Totally.
So that
and then you
learn
can just
from
message
them.
and be like, I want to do this thing. Does anyone know a way more efficient way of doing it than doing it manually?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm exactly the same as you. Like, I had never heard of Zapier until Manexia was like, this is what you need. This is the tech that you need to set up for your course launch. And I was like, oh, okay.
And it's scary.
It
like
is scary.
To set, like having all this tech, you're like relying on it in the background, and
it sometimes does go wrong.
Yeah,
and then you have to like go in and like fix it.
Yeah.
The other automations that I am obsessed with are my workflows in Dubsado that do things like for the podcast as well. Like I genuinely think that has saved me hours of time in client guest liaising.
Yeah.
That has been amazing. But I wish I could like I need, maybe that would be another challenge. 30 days of automating, like each day try and find something that you could automate in your business. Maybe that's a bit intense.
30 days.
Okay, maybe not.
Why don't you do like 10 days?
Yeah, 10 days.
Or once a week or something
what
like
I'd like to do is carve out some time to just explore like what's possible. Like I'd love to like go through Zapier and just, they've got loads of like almost like template zaps.
Yeah.
It's like go through and see like what you can actually do. Get ideas, because there's so many things. Yeah, like you can do ones where, say you get an email with an attachment and it automatically puts that attachment in a particular file.
Oh, wow.
Or you can do ones where like you get in a lead and it puts them all into like a Google spreadsheet for you. You know, like you can move it over into another tool so that you can like see everything.
Yeah. You can link it to Trello, can't you?
Yeah. Oh, there's some good ones in Trello as well. Like even within Trello.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Right, I've got one more.
Okay, tell us your last one. No, I'm done now.
I mean, it kind of links to the first one, really. And that is not telling clients when they can and can't contact you. So I think
that's an important
for the clients
one,
you do let in, having quite clear boundaries. And I was saying to you yesterday that this one client is a different client to the Australia client.
I've gone to Australia.
Yeah, but they added me into a WhatsApp group with other members of their staff, and they were messaging at like 3 a.m. And I was thinking, I'm getting this and that's unacceptable. But your staff should not be getting that as well. And yeah, they're not a client anymore. But I just, when they left, I was like, I'm never going to, that is a really clear boundary for me now. I'm never going to allow that to happen again.
Yeah.
So
that is a good lesson. I think that isn't something that I communicate well with my clients.
No.
I've been really lucky that I haven't had an issue with that. Like I try and make sure, like I do sometimes work on the weekends, and I try and make sure I don't ever send emails on the weekends. So I'll always schedule them for a Monday morning because I want that boundary to be clear. I don't want to be getting emails from my clients at the weekend. I mean, I don't massively mind if they email me. I don't want them to expect a reply. Is the key. No. And I don't think any of them do, which is good because I don't ever email them on the weekend. So I think there are ways that you can sort of like reinforce the boundary. But I think actually, you know, that makes me think like part of my onboarding, like for clients, it would be great to be like here are the ways you can contact me. Yeah. These are the hours you can expect a reply from me in. You know, just like be really clear and spell it out. Yeah. And stick to it myself. Yeah. So that then the boundaries like reinforce, because I have to like sort of stick to the boundary as well.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think that's a really good lesson. Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. I think
that's
those
my
are good
last one.
lessons. I
Yeah.
like them. Nothing like particularly shocking, but I think they're
No.
all like good ones to remember. Amazing. Thank you so
Nice,
much.
thank
We will be
you.
back next week with another episode, our fourth and final
Final
of our little
episode.
series, which I am absolutely loving. It's just nice to do something different,
Yeah.
like sometimes. So yeah, it's been fun to start the year with these sort of mini, just us chatting episodes.
Nice.
And yeah, thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed this episode, come back next week for another episode with Hannah. But also, you can check out the Building Your Brand podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And there are over 100 episodes for you to choose from with some amazing guests. So go check it out, subscribe. And if you would leave me a review, I would be so grateful.